Hello students, now we will start with the next compression module, that is image compression. We have finished text compression and the sound compression. So during the sound compression I had told you that the sound compression is comparatively easy than the text compression, but sorry, it is more difficult than the text compression but easy than the image compression. Now, why is it so? Because if you see all these type of data, the text, sound and image is the one who requires maximum memory. So when I'm talking about image, it is equally true for the video. Image compression, when you talk about, because image, we always say that picture speaks 1,000 words, so people like to see more number of images compared to your text. Okay, so how are we going to do about it? So always we start with the basic definition of the text or data which is given to you. So what is an image? So a digital image is a rectangular array of dots or picture elements which are arranged in m number of rows and n number of columns. See, I know that when you are imagining a image, you are imagining one kind of a photograph, okay, where it might be you have taken a selfie, you have clicked a photo of somebody. But when I put this photograph into a software, when I put this photograph into any processing thing, I know it is going to read by certain values. So every image or every data will be represented by a certain values when I'm going to process it. Okay, so image, we say it is also it is represented in terms of m comma n, m number of rows and n number of columns. So this m comma n, that is m cross n, is also called as a resolution of the image, whereas these dots or these values are called as a pixels. So sometimes resolution is also referred as how many pixels are there per unit length. So we always say if the resolution is better, you get the higher quality of the image, and if the resolution is poor, then the quality is not so good, or we don't have to go for that particular images. So when we say you are going to get a high resolution of camera, that means you are seeing many number of pixels will be there which will be representing your picture. So before starting with this image compression, we have to find out how many types of images are there, because the general algorithm of a compression will not work for all type of images. So let us find out how many types of images are there. Before that, let me point out one more thing to you, because when you have scanned or something, sometimes you find out one more term which is used for images apart from your resolution. It is called as a DPI. So it is nothing but a dot per inch. So how many dots are there? How many image dots are there per inch of that particular page, or per inch of that particular image? So first type of image, it is a simple image, because you must have seen this kind of image many times. So it is called as a bi-level or a monochrome. So monochrome indicates it is a single color. So white color is obviously there, and you have black color. So this image, when I put it into a software or I go for a processing, I know that these will only have two values. So one value which will be representing a white, and one value which will be representing a black. So normally this picture is represented as black and white, and each pixel in such image can be represented by a single bit. So this is the simplest type of image. Let me remind you, when we say we are having a black and white photos, those are not actually black and white photo. Black and white image looks like this because whatever we have black and white photos, we have different shades of gray. So in the compression or in the data compression, when you say that it is a bi-level image, imagine that it has to be represented only by one of the two value, either 0 or 1, or whatever software your value is going to take. So I hope this monochrome image is simple, or it is more clear to you. It is the simplest image for a compression, because you will have numerous lengths of 0, then you will have numerous lengths of black. I mean, sorry, the other color, white color or a black color. So it is easier to compress. Now these are our black and white photos, which are referred as a grayscale images. Now what is the grayscale images? Where we say that a pixel in an image can have one of the n values. What do you mean by one of the n values? That means the pixel will have from 0 to n values, and the shades of gray can be represented by 2 raised to n. So the any color can be represented between the black and white, where you have a number of shades gray. So different gray shades can be represented here. Most of the time we say that when I represent these values, when I convert all these values into digital, so when I'm going to represent it, all these values in number of bits, the MSB bits of all these values are important. So whenever I'm going to do a compression, I'll make sure that I'm not going to touch these MSB value. So when you can see this grayscale images, you will have lots of gray shades here, which can be represented in terms of 2 raised to n. So grayscale images, we also say that it has n bit planes, okay, because each pixel will be represented by number of bit planes or a number of bits which are there. Then you have continuous tone image. Now, what do you mean by continuous tone images? Here, this type of image can have many similar colors, okay. So you can see here the blue has been continued here, the parrot green has been continued here, or when you look at this particular thing, the blue color, you have continuous shades of the same color. Normally we say that it is very difficult. I cannot differentiate between this blue color and this blue color. So we say that these are called as a continuous tone images. We also say that this color, or when I want to represent it with a pixel, it can be represented in terms of RGB, that is red, green and blue. Continuous tone image is normally a natural image because in the if you see these natural images, it is difficult to distinguish between the same two colors, like blue shades. It is very difficult to distinguish where does this particular color start, where does this particular color starts. But when I say natural image, this is a photograph again taken, so you can have these kind of images, and these images also, they respond to a compression well. Now we have a discrete tone images. Now the moment you look at these images, you know what kind of images I'm talking about. These are artificial images. These are the images which I draw, or a layman like me, when I draw it in a paint, it will be a discrete tone images, because I have a boundary. I'm sure that this is a blue color, this is a black color, and this is a boundary which specifies it. When I draw something like this, I know this body is an entirely different color, and these joints are defined by a different color. So discrete tone images, where you can make out where the one color ends and where the another color start. Sorry, it may have few colors or it may have many colors, okay. It is not necessary that discrete tone images will, now here the moment I have shown you that this is a discrete image, so mostly these colors, this particular image has only 3 colors. So not necessary, if you look at this particular image, it has many colors. If you look at this particular image, this also has many colors, okay. But in this case, what will happen is, if you are going for a lossy compression, that you are going to eliminate certain data, when in this case, when I say you are going to eliminate certain data, that means we are going to eliminate certain pixels. So you have to make sure that this boundary is, it is as it is. If you play with this boundary, then you will not be achieving a good quality as the original image. So these images are called as a discrete image. Most of the time, how do you identify? The adjacent pixels are same. That is a discrete image. You see here, the adjacent pixels are same. Then cartoon-like images. So I know that everybody has seen these kind of images. Now, how do you define these kind of images? You have uniform area. Okay, see this circle and this circle, it is same. It has not happened that this particular circle is there and the other eye is oval. Okay, so we call it as uniform areas. The color image that consists of uniform area. Second, the adjacent areas may have very different color. Most of the time each area will have a single color. For example, here the body has been given, so it has the same color has been applied here. Now when it is the ears are painted here, it is the same color has been applied. So we say that it will, most of the time each shape will have same color. So these are called as your cartoon like images. Now all these images which we have seen, so you know that these all have certain kind of a redundancy, but the redundancy type is different. So we cannot say that a one particular compression algorithm will work for all kind of images. So that is the reason we have different compression algorithms, and it depends on which application you are going to use. Second thing, when we say that a particular, when I talked about the resolution, for example, suppose I say that each pixel you have RGB. Suppose every RGB color is represented by 8 bits. So then your particular image becomes 24 bits. So if I'm talking about a simple RGB image where I'm saying that each color is represented by 8 bits. Okay, so each color, if it is represented by 8 bits, so this RGB will be represented by 24 bits. So now you imagine when you talk about a resolution, because normally when you talk about display, you definitely talk about these resolution 512 by 512. So you imagine the number of bits which will be generated when you go for this kind of a resolution. And people are not happy with this kind of a resolution, so they go for 1024 resolution 1024 by 1024 and 24. So do you imagine a particular image, why it generates so much data? So sorry, this is 24, I should have written it 24 properly. So this is the kind of image which is generated. And now when I say that there are 24 bits are available, that means a particular image can have a color, or it can represent a combination of color of a range of 2 raised to 24. Okay, so now let's move ahead with the other thing. Just let me clear out this particular screen, because okay, it is all the so principle of image compression, definitely we will try to find out what kind of redundancies we can have in the image. The first redundancy is coding redundancy, because in the first lecture also I had told you that the coding redundancy, because on the images, if you see, the adjacent pixels are the same, so you have a very good chance of going for a run length coding or any other coding which is available to you. Then we have interpixel redundancy, that they are dependent on each other, that also we will see. And the third is psychovisual redundancy. Now when I go for a psychovisual redundancy, because we are seeing that the human eye is more sensitive towards one kind of a color, and it can tolerate more loss towards one of the color, whereas sometimes we are not able to tolerate much loss in one of the color. So we take advantages of these properties of a human eye, we take advantages of these characteristic of a human, and then we go for a image compression. So these three redundancies, we have to always remember that when we go for an image compression, these redundancies are there. And the same will be true when we talk about video compression. So only thing, in the video compression you have to remember, there will be one more redundancy which will be added, called as a spatial redundancy or a temporal redundancy, because the redundancy continues in the time domain also. Now let's talk about coding redundancy. The gray level histogram of an image can provide a great deal of insight into the construction of code. Now what do you mean by histogram? Histogram is nothing but a graph where I have a pixel values on the x-axis, and on the y-axis I have how many pixels have these values. Sorry, this is my y-axis, and this is my x-axis. So it gives me a general idea how the gray shade is distributed amongst the pixel. How does my image looks like? Okay, so then I can calculate the number of bits which are required to represent using this formula. Now why we are doing it here, see the table which is given here. So you have a probabilities here, you have taken out the pixels value, the L is the average number of bits which are required to each value of the pixel. So you have calculated, but now there is one code which is a constant bit code. Okay, so these are the code which are given to a pixel value. Now this is the length, because L is the average number of bits required to represent each value of it. So the 333 that had been mentioned. Okay, so the probability, and you are going for a fixed level coding. Now there is another code which is nothing but a variable length coding, and you are calculated L again. So if you calculate average length, you are calculating it as a 3 bits, whereas with this variable length code, you are calculating it as a 2.7 bits. So what is the purpose of showing this to you? Because initially when we start with the compression, we try to have a same number of codes to represent every pixel so that it is a uniformity and it becomes easy for the receiver also. But when we are talking about, we are trying to exploit the redundancy, whether we can save certain data, whether we can reduce the number of bits. So what we will be doing, wherever I see a higher compression, or wherever, sorry, not higher compression, wherever I see a higher probability, I assign a less number of bits. So higher probability, you have shorter bit length. Wherever you have least probable, you have maximum number of bits. Okay, so this is the way the image will be also coded, because all data, when we start to compress, we need to define how are we going to go for the coding. Now the psychovisual coding. So the certain information simply has less relative importance than the other in a normal visual processing. For example, when you start looking at the video, so first thing might be, at the bottom the name is continuously displayed. So initially when you look at the video, you notice. Once you are engrossed in that video further, you don't notice the other thing. So we take advantage of that also. The elimination of psychovisually redundant data results in loss of quantitative information called as a quantization. This is also called as a lossy data compression. You have to remember, or by now you must be knowing, that the moment we talk about lossy, we talk about quantization, because quantization is the process where the image will lose the data. So you can do a quantization in grayscale levels, which happen, and the line interfacing in the TV. For example, now see, the interlacing is happening here. So you read alternate lines first, then you go and read the remaining lines, but the user doesn't mind. Okay. So for this particular video, I think these things are sufficient. You can just, again, whenever you come for the online class, I hope you have listened to this particular video, or we will be listening it together, so that the redundancy, what are the kind of redundancy, what kind of images we have, that is very clear to you. Okay, thank you.